What is going on, everybody? Lamont at large. Today I am standing in front of the James Brown Arena here in Augusta, Georgia. This is the location of where James Brown's funeral, one of his many funerals, took place, where an estimated 9,000 people came to this arena to visit the body of James Brown Jr. That is my rental car. It has served its purpose quite well. To my right is a chicken sandwich that I purchased from Popeye's Chicken, and the sandwich was not to my liking. I ate some of it, and I tore it up into a bunch of pieces in a fit of rage and threw it out the window. That is not my cup right there. I do not litter. This video is going to prove today that my style of videos, sometimes you just gotta wing it. You know, sometimes you wish that, you know, these construction workers weren't talking so loudly. I would wish that this guy operating that little backhoe over there, he would stop yelling so I can talk about James Brown. But these guys, they don't care. They don't care about me. They don't care about my feelings. They don't care about my videos. They're just here to make a buck. Here to make a buck. Enough about my problems. Let's talk about James Brown. Now, there's plenty of videos on YouTube that you could be watching right now instead of mine talking about James Brown, and they'd be talking about James Brown in the comfort of their own studios or their homes. And I bet you they don't have this sound in the background. Beep, 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 beep. I can't do it, kids. I can't win today. Today was not a good day to make this video. However, today we're going to visit the arena where James Brown had his public viewing. We're going to talk a little bit about his career. You know, this channel, this is not a deep dive channel. We're going to talk a little bit about his career, what I thought about it, the good, the bad. We're also going to talk about, after he died, all the family infighting over his money. And oftentimes, you know, blood is thicker than water, but when it comes to money, well, that pretty much trumps everything. Without further ado, let's get right into this video. I love the sounds of construction. This was the general area where James Brown was born, May 3rd, 1933, in Barnwell, South Carolina. He basically grew up in the Augusta, Georgia area. I think him and his family, they had a family member that ran some kind of a brothel here, so they basically lived in that brothel for some time. And as a little kid, James, to make money, he would shine shoes. There's a military base not very far from here where he would shine people's shoes, soldiers' shoes. He would sing, or busk, whatever that word is that you call it. And James, as a kid, as a lot of kids growing up, you're growing up poor and you're growing up in the South, you get into a little bit of trouble. And James did a little bit of time as a teenager. He did, I don't know, maybe a year or two, I'm not 100% sure, but he did a little bit of time in, I guess you would call it reform school or prison or whatever. Anyway, so while he's in prison, James, he's not somebody to mess with, because this guy, even though he's beautiful and famous and rich, he's a tough kid, and he boxed a little bit here and there, so this guy could definitely handle himself in the streets. So later he would get out of this hellhole prison, and he told himself, he said, man, you know, I don't want to come back here, even though he would. And he wants to make something out of his life. He wants to be a singer, right? And a very, very, very talented singer he would be. So later on, he would link up with a couple other guys, and he would be the lead singer for a group called the Famous Flames. Okay, so that's, if you hear a lot of old music that James Brown is singing on, back from the 50s, that is the group that he is singing with. And of course, later on, he would venture out on his own. I'm pretty sure there's a lot of videos talking about him leaving whatever group, and you know, him being bigger than everybody else, which he pretty much was. He would later go out on his own. He called himself the Godfather of Soul and the hardest working man in show business. And let me tell you, that guy was. I regret to this day that I did not go see James Brown perform in concert. At that time, I was in Las Vegas. I would read, like, you know, those free weekly rags that they would have in the, you know, at the bus stops. You read it while you're waiting for the bus. And he was always performing in Las Vegas. He was always at the House of Blues at the Mandalay Bay. And I regret not seeing him perform in person. And he was the hardest working man in show business. You got 17 songs of his that reached #1 on the top 100 Billboard R&B charts. Get up, get on up, get up, get on up, get on the scene, get on it. I feel like a sex machine. Get on up. Yeah. Oh, and say it loud. I'm black and I'm proud. Do you think those guys heard me? I think there's too much going on over there. Of course, he also had that song, Living in America, huh? Living in America, from coast to coast. Make me some toast. I don't know the words to the song. And listen, guys, I'm still upset about that movie where the song came from. Wasn't that Rocky IV? Wasn't that the song that he performed before Apollo Creed got killed by Ivan Drago? Okay, hey, if he dies, he dies. Wasn't that, am I mixing things up here? Maybe I should have done a little bit more research in this. I'll have to get back to you guys on that. I could have sworn that was the song from from Rocky IV. It could have been. Okay, so, you know, listen, James Brown, he had his fair share of problems, okay? Going into, you know, the 10 years or so before his death, he, you know, people were coming out against him, right? You know, they were pointing fingers at him. They said, hey, you like to beat, you know, women. You beat practically all of your wives, all 4 of them, or 3. Not really sure about the 4th. But, yeah, man, James Brown was, you know, a drug-abusing, violent guy when he was on dope. He loves him some PCP. I mean, who doesn't, right? I mean, PCP is great, right? Or something like that. I don't know. Anyways, so this guy, violent guy, beating his wives, all that dark stuff. But, you know, millions of people around the world love his music. Gotta love those. Gotta, you know, hey, that's what happens when you're on YouTube. You just kind of gotta see why. Anyways, I'm not even gonna stop. I'm just gonna continue. So in December of 1988, he was sentenced because all of the bad things that he would do. He was finally sentenced to 6 years in prison. Why? Well, I think the year previous, this guy, James Brown, he owned like some kind of a business, like an insurance seminar somewhere in the area. And he's probably high as a kite. And he goes into his office. He's like, yeah, somebody used my private bathroom. I can't really do a good James Brown. But so he comes in there with a gun and a rifle because somebody used his private bathroom. Now, I don't know about you guys, but if somebody were to use my private bathroom, I would actually smoke drugs too and go in there with a rifle and a handgun and demand retribution for this dastardly deed that somebody. How dare, you know, if I had that kind of money that James Brown had, I would have my own commode and they would travel with me from hotel to hotel. I would demand, you know, they take the hotel toilet out and put my own. I would be so fancy. Well, actually, no, not really. I'm a lowbrow guy. If you guys don't know this, you guys probably, some of you know this, but no, I would totally bring my own toilet with me wherever I go, or maybe my own bathroom or whatever. Maybe I should stop living in a van. Anyways, so this guy is crazy on drugs, holding up guns to everybody in the office. And then they called 911 because they're freaking scared of him. And he jumps into his truck. And the police start chasing this guy. So they chase him because Augusta is right on the border with South Carolina. So he was going kind of back and forth between the state line with Augusta. You had about a dozen law enforcement vehicles chasing this guy. Eventually, they shot out his tires, and for 6 miles, this guy is driving on the rims of his truck. They finally do a pit maneuver, and he's like trying to ram the car. This guy was high as a kite, so eventually he got locked up because of that, and ended up getting to 6 years in prison. He only did about 15 months. He got released, and then he did his final 10 months in some kind of a work release program. And later on in May of 2003, he would get pardoned from all of those crimes that he committed. I guess it was like, fleeing police, whatever it was that the charges were. And, being a man of means, a man of money, you did all that stuff, and yet you got pardoned by the governor of South Carolina, which proves to me that anytime people say like, oh, it matters what race you are when you get when you go to prison and all this and that. The only color that's really important is green, because it don't matter what race you are. If you got money, that's gonna substantially help you out of certain situations that you get yourself into via the court of law. But of course, to avoid all of that, we simply don't commit any crimes. As we take off away from the James Brown Auditorium, we're gonna go to his estate, or his daughter's estate, where he is buried at, not too far from here in Beach Island, South Carolina. During his funeral here, amongst the 9,000 people that came here to visit James Brown was one Michael Jackson himself. Does anybody remember when that video on YouTube that James Brown called down Michael Jackson to sing a couple bars from the song This Is a Man's World? I love you. Yeah, Michael Jackson, he better have showed up. Michael Jackson better have, man, if Michael Jackson didn't show up to that damn funeral, MC Hammer showed up to the funeral. Old race pimp himself. Not Jesse Jackson, Reverend, I don't even, that's not even his name. He's not a Reverend. Is he a Reverend? Al Sharpton? Stirring up trouble. But I kind of am too, stirring up trouble. As I walk down these stairs, my knee feels a lot better because I banged it up really bad against the steering wheel of that car. Okay, feels a lot better. I should be able to start jogging in about the next week. So the video is almost over. Definitely not one of my best that I've done. That video was supposed to be a lot different, look a lot different, and with the construction workers, people in the street yelling, talking very loudly, I almost wanted to just drive away, come back later in the year and do the video, but I was on my way to Ohio, so I figured let's just get it done at least, and then I can think about whether I want to upload it or not. So anyways, right now we are flying over Beach Island, South Carolina, and right now I'm looking at my Google Maps and I'm trying to figure out what house is his. So we're flying over it right now, and if you look right in the center of your screen, that is actually James Brown's final resting place. That is his crypt. Now, this drone that I have, it's a good drone, but the camera's not the best. And if you don't fly drones, you're not gonna know that, I'm gonna wanna get lower. I'm gonna wanna get a really, really good shot. And I really wanna just basically land the drone at the actual place, but I don't want to lose the drone. So right now I'm trying to zoom in on it, and that is it, even though you can't see it very well. And I'm gonna probably want to get a little bit lower. Also wanting to be careful to not hit a tree or maybe a branch I don't see. And also a dreaded bird attack. Yes, birds love to attack drones. I've almost lost a drone a few times from predatory birds. And I'm trying to hope that no bird is going to attack my drone. And I really want to get closer, but I also
really don't want to lose another drone, because that's pretty much 500 bucks out of my pocket, which I would not mind losing this drone for this video. But anyways, so definitely for the future, I will be upgrading my drone, because if I had a better drone, I would have been able to get a way closer up look. That is grave. But anyways, a lot of drama, a lot of stuff in terms of James Brown and people fighting over his estate and what have you. But anyways, the man, the legend, James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers pretty much that ever lived. So anyways, well, I am going to fly out of here. I hope you somewhat enjoyed the video. It could have been way better, but you know, what are you gonna do? All right, guys, I will catch up with you later. Have a good one. Peace out.